everyone. Welcome back to the Capsule in Conversation. I'm Natalie Anderson, and today I'm joined in the studio by our fashion editor Anna Muse, travel industry expert Lyndsey Thomas, and ultimate performance commercial director Mark Bohannon, as we talk all things body, health, and well-being. So allow yourself a breather, and for the next half an hour, get ready to join in with our conversation. Hello everyone, it's lovely to have you back with us. Hopefully we can cheer you out of any January blues you might be feeling with today's wonderful Capsule crew. We've got our super stylish Anna Muse. Hello Anna.
Hello.
Our gorgeous girl about and travel industry expert Lyndsey Thomas. Hello Lyndsey.
Hello.
I'm
not feeling very gorgeous though, I'd just like to...
No, but you're eager.
Oh, I'm eager. I'm always eager.
She's eager. And we've got commercial director at global fitness company UP Fitness, Mark Bohannon. Hello Mark.
Hello. Thanks for having me on as well.
Oh, no, thanks so much for being here. We are so excited to have you with us, aren't we?
Yes.
Oh, my goodness.
There's so many questions.
You should see these dimples.
I meant the questions. Well, along with providing support and training plans for the multitude of clients UP has globally, you've also worked with some of the most recognised faces in the UK, including the gorgeous Gemma Atkinson and Tyldesley, who are both in incredible shape, can we say. So what do you think is the key factor when it comes to sticking with a fitness programme?
There's probably a few different things there. So the first one's always got to be sustainable. And I think we'll talk about that quite a lot as we go through. But one of the other things that's quite important is you have to do it for the right reasons. Mm-hmm. So many times people start the new year and they feel like, I need to go on a diet because it's January.
Yeah.
I need to eat well because everybody else is doing it. So I'm going to get on this diet. And that kind of sets you up for failure because you've not really set out your expectations and where you actually want to get to. So a lot of the time it's quite nice to actually set a goal and decide why you're doing it. So I want to get in better shape because right now I feel rubbish in the morning. I get up, I've got no energy. I look at myself in the mirror, I'm not entirely happy with where I'm at. Okay, right. That's the base to set a goal. Where do you want to be now? Okay, I want to be at this dress size or I want to be here by this date. And that's where you find a lot of people before weddings or before holidays tend to get a better result because you've actually got something to work towards.
Oh, that's me. And then as soon as the wedding or the holiday's over, bang, I'm
Because
back.
because you've not really set up the next goal. Yeah, that's exactly it. So you've got to decide, why do I want to do it? And with a holiday, a lot of the time it's you look back at the holiday before and you think, right, I felt rubbish when I was studying in that bikini or I felt bad when I was in that dress, or I look back at that picture and I wasn't happy with the way I looked. So you've almost set that fear of not wanting to be there anymore. And you look forward, you think, where do I want to be? How do I want to look in that picture? And that's why it's not easy, but it's easier to get your result by looking at it that way.
I've also heard that willpower is a myth and it's actually discipline that creates consistency. So it's kind of training that discipline to be consistent rather than relying on willpower, because willpower wanes. Whereas if you can be disciplined and build the habits, that's
like
when
more
you tend
like a
to
routine.
stick. Yeah. So willpower alone is hard to sustain, but if you are really consistent and just almost don't give yourself
it's habits, isn't it? So it's setting each day and having that big goal in 12 weeks or 16 weeks, wherever it is, I want to be here. Then it's setting those smaller tasks, like every day I'm going to walk so many thousand steps, and every day I'm going to make sure I drink enough water. Every day I'm going to make sure I eat enough meals. So rather than it being this massive, huge goal, which is weeks away, it's daily
breaking
actions.
it down.
Yeah. And reward yourself at the end of the day. Like, I did well today. I didn't.
Let's have some cake.
chocolate.
No.
I won't go down that route. But.
Well, what I was going to say is because it's the middle of January now, and people will have started out with those really, really good intentions, like, I'm going to go at it. This is going to be my year, and already, because I know I'm doing it, they'll be going. And kind of just walking away from it a little bit, or just feeling they've gone too hell for leather, and then they're out of steam. How do you stay motivated?
That's why I want to come back to it. So it's a sustainable side of things, isn't it? So it's making sure that whatever you decide to do, you could do it for the next year, 2 years, 10 years. And training 6-7 times a week and only eating 500 calories a day is never going to be sustainable. So it's sitting down and thinking, right, what could I do each and every week? Right, I know I could get to the gym twice a week every week, so I'm going to make sure I do twice every week for the rest of the year. If I get there 3 or 4 times, that's a bonus. Yeah, I know I can eat well 5 days a week, so if I eat well 5 days a week, I've done all right. If I mess up 2 days, okay, that's okay, but I need to get straight back on the wagon and where people get better with fitness is they get better at getting back on the wagon. So
I have the wagon issue. You know, if I start at the beginning of every single month, beginning of the month's the new leaf.
Yeah.
You know, and you start, and if I get to the 4th or 5th of Jan, for example, and I go against what I'd promised myself, that's it for the whole month. Done.
The whole thing.
I have to wait
gone.
till February now, and then I'll start again.
It's that feedback loop as well of habits. So some people might be, and we work a lot with like clients that work in offices and city centres. So it could be on a Thursday evening and the weather's nice, they have a glass of wine, and then they think, well, I've had a glass of wine, I may as well have the bottle. And they have the bottle and they feel like, I may as well have a couple more like gins or espresso martinis.
Yeah. Shots, yeah.
But then you're on the way home, you're like, I had a drink tonight, I may as well eat a pizza. So you have the pizza and you get home, you've had the pizza, and you wake up Friday morning, it's like,
I'll have a bacon butter, yeah.
I woke up late, I'll have a bacon butty.
Yeah.
I'll not go to the gym because I went out last night. Then it gets to Friday night, you're like, well, I may as well have a takeaway because there's no point in getting back on it now. I may as well wait till Monday.
And then you've
Starts
undone
tomorrow.
everything,
Yeah.
haven't you?
Exactly that. So you've undone everything, but then you start to get better. And it might be that you still do all that on the Thursday, but you wake up Friday morning, you have your bacon butty, but you think, no, I'm going to get to the gym, and I'm going to get back on it now. Then over time, it might be you still have a glass of wine on a Thursday evening, you might even have the bottle, but you don't have the pizza, and you get back on it sooner.
It's
And it's
getting
learning
back-
how to do that.
and to do that balance, the maths basically, but like program the maths, I suppose, into like, you know, yeah, you've had the glass of wine, but it's fine, don't worry about it. Then, like you say, go to the gym the next day or whatever. Just
and it's
don't let it lead you down a path of negativity, maybe.
and even if it does, it's not the end of the world. It's not like, right, that's me done forever now. It's you'll always feel better for getting back on it. So a lot of the time when people look back, they go, oh, I should have never had that. But you've done it now, you may as well move on from there.
Yeah.
But when you make that decision not to have something, you always look back and think, I did all right there, I didn't drink. Or I did all right there and I didn't eat this. So you've always got to look at, in that moment, do I really want this, or am I not going to really be thankful for it in the next 2, 3, 4 hours or a week or so later?
Mark, question from me. I have 2 small children.
Yes.
I have a business. I have a very successful podcasting career.
Yes, she does.
And I just have no time in my life for fitness. So what do you recommend has the most benefit in the least amount of time to make me look like a Victoria's Secrets model from the neck down?
I'm going to apologise for this as well, because I'll say it depends a lot, because it always does depend. So it depends on where you're at right now. So for someone who's been training for years and years and years, they're going to have to work a little bit harder to get a result and make progress. But for yourself, if you've not done much fitness
I'm 40 in 29 days, so I've got 29 days to go from a size 10 bordering on 12 to around maybe an 8.
Yes.
Can I do that?
Depends. It always depends as well how long you've been at where you're at and how far away you are. So it's kind of like, do you want to
Well, I've
squeeze
been
into
at where I'm at for 39 years. Love.
You could squeeze into a size 8 if you really tried.
But you'd look nicer
Yeah.
in a size 10, in better shape.
So he's not getting hung up on those kind of
Yeah.
short goals, but what he's looking at as well is, right, can I train 3 times a week for half an hour? Can I find something where I'll train hard and work hard for half an hour 3 times a week?
I don't like sweating.
You're going to find it tough.
I
Then.
know.
How do you actually feel? Because I bet Lyndsey is not the only one that comes to you with an ideal of somebody like a celebrity or an influencer, and everybody's different body shapes. You know, it'd be pointless me saying I want to look like Giselle. She's 6 foot something, but yet I bet you do get people that come to you and say, I want to look like this. How do you respond to that? What's your advice?
Everyone always wants to be the opposite of what they are, right?
Yeah.
So you've got all the girls who are naturally quite curvy who come and say, I want to be much leaner and quite thin, if anything.
athletic.
Yeah,
Yeah.
more athletic. You get the athletic girls saying, I want to be more curvy. And a lot of the time as well, they're coming to you and they might actually pick someone who's in a similar body shape to what they are in terms of body fat percentages and what they look from a health point of view. It's just distributed in a different way across the body. So it's very hard to say, I want to look like that individual person. And it sounds quite a bit of a weak answer, but you can only look as good as what you can look. Now, that doesn't mean that everybody can't be in shape. It just means that everybody's in shape is going to look slightly
different and for themselves, and I think that's much better, really. It's like, you know what, you'll look the best that you can look, Lyndsey. If you do whatever you want to do, you'll probably be like, oh my god, yeah, I feel amazing. And it's us being able to be happy with us being the best version of ourselves.
I just get so wrapped up in work, childcare and everything else. And I know it's wrong, but I really do put that to the back of my priority list. And now I am about to hit 40, I am very conscious of not necessarily how thin I am. I'm not bothered about that, but there are things that are starting to pop out, you know, underneath my bra and above my Nicolai, and, you know, things that I don't want there.
But that's it as well from the priority point of view. So again, going back to like the wedding and the holiday, because that thing's coming up and you've got that big goal, it kind of pushes it that further bit up the priority list. And what we start to notice with our clients, we got a lot of clients before holidays, before weddings, 39, 49, 59. So before they get to these milestones in age, so it's almost like, I'm almost 40. I need to look better when I'm 40, or I'm almost 30. We get people coming at that age. I'm almost 50. So that's something that's just pushed it further up that priority list. So it might not have been there at one point, but now it's working its way up. That's when you start to find the time and actually start to factor it
I'll
into
be finding the time on probably the 29th of January, night before.
Is half an hour enough to get a decent workout in? Because realistically, most days that is probably about. I will do like a class once or twice a week on an evening when I've got a bit longer after the kids are asleep. But in a morning, I can probably fit in half an hour. Is that enough to actually exercise and see results and benefits?
It depends. There we go again. But it's part of how hard you work. So if you can generate intensity, so you can train quite hard, in half an hour you can get a good workout in. Yeah. You're still going to need that 5 or so minutes to get warmed up and 5 or so minutes at the end just to get yourself together. But in terms of really being short on time, if you had 40 minutes spare, you could get a really good workout in. And you're far better to do that 3 times a week for the next 4 months, 5 months, 6 months than to find an hour, 2 hours, which you really struggle to find, and only do it for 2 or 3 weeks. Yeah. It's always most important to find something you can be consistent with.
And how many calories can you burn in a good 20 minutes of HIIT?
I keep doing it. It depends. Right, so everyone's different. So your average, let's say you're a guy and you're athletic and you're a rugby player, let's say, you're going to burn far more calories than somebody a female who weighs 50 kilos, who's a yoga instructor. So the body's going to have a different amount of more muscle, more calories, that sort of stuff. So it's very hard to give like a ballpark number.
What about, I'm always interested in how many calories you burn if you don't actually move all day. What do you start on? Before you start the whole deficit
that's
thing.
Where it depends.
How many calories? If I'm just like tottering around my office and, writing a few emails and not really being quite sedentary, what are you actually burning before you even start any exercise?
So you've got a few different things. So you've got your BMR, which is your basal metabolic rate. So that's how many calories you burn if you were to just lie in bed and do nothing all day, you'd still burn some calories, but that would almost be your BMR, so your basal metabolic rate.
Right. Okay.
And on top of that, you're working your energy expenditure, so how active you are. So if you've got quite a sedentary job, you might burn an extra 20% calories. If you're quite active, so you're walking around a lot and then you train, that sort of stuff, you might burn a few more calories, but it's very hard to guess how many calories someone will burn, because you might not think you're very active, but you might actually do 15,000 steps a day because you walk everywhere. Somebody might think they does a lot, because they go to the gym for 40 minutes and they work hard in terms of working hard in the gym, but then for the rest of the day they might be sat down. So sometimes people think they're more active than they actually are.
So do you think then, it's obviously, like as you say now, it's every case is very individual, and the best thing to do would be to go and actually speak to somebody like yourself or an instructor. But you see, some people get so anxious about going to a gym. So how would you find out that information if you were worried? Like there'll be lots of people out there who'll be really anxious about stepping even through the gym doors because they just feel
they're quite intimidating sometimes.
Yeah, they're intimidating. But yet you do want to start on a journey, and you do need to know all those, like what your BMR is. Where does somebody start?
I mean, a good place to always start with any of that is, first of all, if you want to lose weight, that what you're doing right now is causing you not to lose weight. So one of the best things to always do is almost write down what you do each day and actually get a start point of what you're doing. So for a week, I'm going to write down what activity I do. So how much activity do I do in a day? I'm going to write down exactly what I eat. Right? I know that's not causing me to lose weight right now, so I need to make an adjustment to that equation. So I either need to eat less or I need to do more.
Empty calories, wine.
Yeah.
Do they contribute towards our calorie count every day?
I think there's about 80 in wine anyway.
When it comes to alcohol, one of the things that isn't as important is the calories that's in it. Okay, yeah, you can get excess calories, but one of the things that you should always focus on is your ability to recover after you've drank. Yeah, so it affects your sleep. So a lot of the time when you drink and you go to bed, even as much as like 2 glasses of wine can really affect something called your HRV. So that's your heart rate variability. So that can tell you how well you've slept. So you've got different stages of sleep. So you've got like light sleep, you've got REM, you've got deep sleep. If you drink before you go to bed, you're almost sedated and you don't actually get into those deep cycles of sleep. So that'll stop you from actually recovering properly. If you don't recover properly, you don't burn as many calories when you sleep. You don't produce as much growth hormone, which helps you to burn fat. And then the next day you wake up and you feel tired.
So the best thing to do is drink wine in the morning for breakfast, maybe, and not necessarily before we go to bed.
No, we're not advocating that.
But with that, you will be more likely to make that bad decision, not necessarily drinking wine for breakfast, but if you were to wake up and you felt tired, you're less likely to want to decide to, right, I'm going to have
a walk or
exactly.
gym session.
You're going to probably make the wrong choice, and you then get in that negative cycle of, I've never got enough energy to train, I never have enough time. The reason is because you sleep too much, because you're sedated, you're not getting good sleep, you wake up and you feel tired and you feel like you've not got enough time.
Now, something that you said earlier, I was telling you, obviously, I whenever I have a drink, even if it's a couple of glasses of Prosecco, I get terrible anxiety the next day. And you mentioned, what was it that you said that could help me with this?
5-HTP.
5-HTP. And how does that work? Because like I say, I hate the fact that I'll just have a nice couple of social glasses of Prosecco with my friends, and the next day I'll feel like the worst thing in the world's happened. And it's kind of like, why do I have to feel like this? My friends don't feel like this. Why do I feel like this?
Yeah, and it's a chemical reaction to what's going on in the brain. So you've got things called neurotransmitters, which so the neurotransmitters affect what actually happens in your brain. And the simple way to explain it is the 5-HTP actually helps to improve what those neurotransmitters are actually doing. So by having that the next day, you should start to feel a little bit better, a little bit sooner.
Where do you get this stuff from, Mark?
You can buy it from any good retailer online. No, it's a
in bulk?
supplement. I'm not too sure where you can get it from. We use a company.
Sell this on the streets. It sounds amazing. Yeah.
But there's so many different things. I mean, even nutrition does this kind of stuff, right? So some people struggle.
Okay, go
some
on.
people struggle with depression, anxiety, and I'm not saying this can cure it and can fix it, but one of the big pieces of research that is coming out more and more now is that your gut is almost your second brain. So what you eat affects what your brain actually
Massively.
does in terms of these chemicals and these neurotransmitters that it puts out. So by having a healthier diet, a lot of time you start to feel better, right? You've got more energy, you sleep better, you wake up and you have less of these like negative thoughts. And nutrition fixes a lot more than just making you look better. It makes you feel better. It makes you actually start to think better as well.
What things would you, so for example, like in terms of the food that you talked about, what foods are we talking here? Like things that we could easily get? Like what?
Talk about the C word.
Carbs.
Carbs.
I wonder where that was going there. No.
Me too. She scares me.
So with nutrition, for me, it always comes down to eating real food.
Yeah.
Yeah. So whether that be plants, so vegetables, potatoes, that sort of stuff, or it's rice, it's oats, it's fruit, it's meat, so good quality meat as well. I always try to advise clients to go more towards
Grass-fed. I always hear the word grass-fed. What does that mean? Eat grass-fed meat.
Yeah, so
Where do I get that from?
It's not as much of a problem in the UK that it is in different countries, but what you can get, for example, in the States is they can pump the cows full of all sorts of stuff like steroids, hormones, things like that. In the UK, we've not quite gone down that route, and
okay, so
it is a little bit more.
matter
The farm is a
in
little
the
bit more
UK.
controlled in the UK, but what it does is show you is that cow has had a healthy life. It's grown up on a field. It's only at grass as opposed to being at like a bulking agent kind of food to get them to get them to.
So it's
to
a better
market quicker.
quality.
It's a better quality. Yeah, it tends to be a little bit leaner as well.
And is the meat in our supermarkets generally grass-fed then? Is that...
No.
Because I've been looking into the keto diet quite a bit, and it talks quite a lot about eating grass-fed meat. And I'm like, where do I get grass-fed from?
A lot of farm shops, so a good place to always go is to go there. You tend to get a better price as well. So if you were to go in and you only bought one chicken breast, it'd be more expensive than if you were to go to a supermarket because you get it much cheaper. But if you go in there and you're not too fussed about what kind of meat you buy, and you buy whatever's in season as such, then you can get some really good deals. You can end up actually saving some money. So some people actually look and go, that'd be super expensive. But if you go in and you're not too precious about the cuts of meat that you're getting and the types of meat that you're getting, you get some pretty good deals.
In terms of diets as such, or eating plans, there's the Cambridge, there's the 5-2, there's the keto, one, and there's what's your approach? Like, what's your thoughts on
that's
these?
another one, isn't it?
Yeah, to start with that, a lot of those are kind of created to make a calorie deficit. So the main way, the only way you can actually lose weight is to eat less calories than you actually burn off. Mm-hmm. So what a keto diet does, it eliminates carbohydrates. So by having carbohydrates out the diet, it creates a calorie deficit. So does the 5-2 by having these days where you eat different amounts of food should create a calorie deficit.
Is that healthy though, to completely eliminate a whole food group? Like take out your carbohydrates completely?
I wouldn't say it was healthy, but it's hard to be sustainable.
Yeah.
So at some point you're going to want to have some carbs again, and that takes you straight out of ketosis. And that's one of the problems with it, that it's not a sustainable diet. It's not a lifestyle. You can't go to a restaurant and choose to have a certain type of food because that doesn't fit my diet plan. So that makes it a little bit harder.
You drink alcohol on the keto diet?
No, because I'll tell you, because alcohol essentially turns to sugar, it'll turn to, you'll come out of ketosis. But to answer that question as well, like proteins and fats are essential. So you've got essential fatty acids, and you have essential amino acids, which are both essential to the body's to stay alive, but you don't have essential carbohydrates as such, so they're not essential to the body. Both proteins and fats can be broken down to make energy.
But we've always been made to believe that, eating lots of very fatty foods like cheese and butter is not particularly good for us. Is this wrong information that we've been fed?
It would be easier to overeat on fats than it would be to overeat on any other food group, especially protein. So with fats, you get 9 calories per gram of a fat, whereas you only get 4 calories per gram of protein. And what happens with protein as well, you've got something called a thermic effect of feeding. So when you eat some protein, you actually burn more calories from the digestion of the protein. So if you get 100 calories of protein, 25% of that gets used for digestion. So you only actually get 75 calories through to the body. Whereas with fats, you're looking around 5% is used in digestion. Also, as well, you release a hormone called peptide YY, which helps you to almost feel like satiety, so it makes you feel more full. And you get a way bigger output of that when you eat protein than what you would do if you ate fat, and then far fewer than if you ate carbs.
So just lots of chicken breast.
Not necessarily just chicken breast, but I could say to you now, right, there's a bowl of chicken breast, eat as much of that as you want. I'm sure you wouldn't finish the entire bowl. Yeah. If I give you a bowl of popcorn and said finish that, it could have the same amount of calories in, but you're much more likely to finish that popcorn because you're not actually getting that hormone release because you're not getting that essential amino acid or essential fatty acid.
What is your take on sugar?
Again, it comes down to processed food, doesn't it? So if you're only looking to eat real foods or as much real food as possible, there's only so much sugar that an actual food can contain. So you're going to get fructose from fruit, which isn't too bad as long as you don't have too much. And then with the rest of the food, if you're eating real food, then sugar doesn't become an issue. It's when you start to go towards processed foods, that's when sugar starts to become more of an issue.
Going back to hormones, this is something I really wanted to talk to you about in terms of exercise.
Yeah.
I find, and I know a lot of my friends do actually, when it comes down to our cycle, it really affects how much we exercise. Like I can go hell for leather at the beginning of my cycle, and then by the end, I'll just be like, I'll take a week off the gym. How do you combat those stops and starts? Because I feel like, as Lyndsey was saying earlier, oh yeah, I'll do well for a month, and then I'll be like, oh, and then we have to start all over again. How do we combat that? It drives me mad.
It's good that you know that much about your cycle as well. So a lot of people actually struggle and they have irregular cycles. So sometimes that can come for various different reasons. Like the birth control pill can do that, or it can be down to a poor diet can also cause irregularity of the cycle. So you've got different phases as you work your way through. So day 1 will be the last day of bleeding as such. That's your last day of the cycle. And you go into something called your follicular phase. Yeah. And during that phase, that's when you start to produce an egg. So over time, that egg's being made and your estrogen steadily starts to rise. Now, there's a lot of responders to estrogen in the brain. So you tend to feel a lot better and you've got more energy. So you'll always find in that first couple of weeks, and the cycle can last anywhere between 28 to 35 days. So in that first sort of 1 to 16 days or so, you'll feel like you have more energy and you're less likely to make poor food choices.
I was going to say that as well, because it's not just the exercise for me, it's what I eat. And I always know when I'm due on, because I cannot eat anything other than, I don't eat anything, stodge, chocolate, all the comfort food. So everything goes out the window in that week where...
Yeah, you feel really good and you're like, I've got loads of energy.
Yeah, and then all of a sudden it's like, where's the chocolate?
And then it just upsets, even if you've been on a training plan, it upsets it all. And
and you go through follicular phase and you get to ovulation. So ovulation is where the egg's produced and that can last for a couple of days or so. Then you move into something called the luteal phase. And what happens during that phase is the body's prepped for that egg to be actually fertilized. So what your body starts to feel is, I need more energy, because if this egg gets fertilized, I need to give it energy in order for it to grow. So then you start to crave more food. So what happens then? You're not going to crave a chicken breast and you're not going to crave a nice steak. You're going to crave the food that contains more energy, so more sugary foods. So your body's almost saying, I need more energy in order to...
I mean, you know, with stuff before we even start as females, aren't we, really?
It's hard. It is. And one of the things that we always look at is training a female client is always going to be different. And we're talking about what happens during the menstrual cycle here, but you have some completely different problems as women start to move towards menopause.
Well, this is the next thing I was going to ask you about, is because obviously we've seen a lot of women, you know, like Davina McCall and Melanie Sykes and Jennifer Aniston, who look incredible, you know, like late 40s, 50s, and they're going, well, you know... You'd think that they would be going towards that menopause or even perimenopause. And how do you keep your energy? With all the hormone drops that we have, what can we do?
Just to finish that as well, so you get the luteal phase, and what happens then, you get to the end and you get these cravings, and a lot of what you can do is even little bits like dark chocolate and little tricks like that can help you to stop those cravings. So it could just be one piece.
One piece?
It would be enough. So you tend to get that craving, but it gets rid of it. And what you've always got to look at is, would a little bit of chocolate be worse than me like binging all single day? So it's almost having something at the end of the day to look forward to. Now, when you look at like the menopause, what happens at that point is you almost get the opposite problem. So a lot of women have the issue between the ages of about 18 to when they start menopause of storing body fat around what you'd class as like the proximities, so like the arms and the legs. So you tend to find a lot of women can get lean in the midsection, so they can drop weight from around the waist, but then they struggle to drop weight from around the thighs.
Oh, I've got
the
such an issue
bums,
with my thighs and bottom.
and arms as well. So a lot of these areas are linked to the hormone estrogen and progesterone, and that is why you're storing fat in those areas.
Right.
What happens when you go through menopause? Those hormones really drop down, so your estrogen drops. And what happens then is you start to have a similar problem to what men have. So then what you start to see then is women, when they get to the 50s later on, they start to get thin legs, thin arms, and more around the middle. And that's linked more to cortisol and linked more to insulin. So you get two different opposite problems there. So you've got a client who's mid-30s, late 30s training. Okay, I know that estrogen is probably a problem here, so I have to prioritize the cycle and getting that right. You get a client who's 50 now, the issue, and a lot of the time they come to us and say, look, I never gained weight all the way through to my 40s. I've suddenly started to gain it around my midsection, and that's because the hormonal balance of the woman has completely changed. And it now replicates more of what a man's hormones would replicate as opposed to what a female's would.
So how do you combat that then?
Again, it's coming down to like knowing your own body and tracking things. So for a client we always recommend that clients track the cycle. So all our female clients will get them to track it. You can do it on loads of apps now.
Yeah,
we use our own app, which has got like a tracker on it. And you'll notice different patterns. So at different days, and you can almost pinpoint it to the day. When I get to day 15, 16, or whatever it is, I get this craving. If you know that's about to happen, what you can also start to do then is put in like a bit of a strategy. Right, I know I always crave more on day 16 or whatever day it is. Right, that day before, what I'm going to do is I'm going to have a little bit of extra food, maybe some extra sweet potato or some extra rice, because that's going to give me more energy. And then the next day, my body's going to stop craving as much.
I've started to do this because I started tracking my cycle on the iPhone app, just because I was tracking it more for my mood than anything else. And then when I started to look at it, I was noticing that on that last week, I was starting to now, I allow myself like supper. So it's only, I don't know how many calories it is, but it's like a small bowl of cereal or 2 slices of toast. But in that last week, I'll allow myself that because I think I must need it because I'm craving it, but I'm trying to choose something that's a good,
being conscious,
it's being conscious,
and
then I'll just go straight back to the beginning again to stop me from being unhealthy or doing those big binges or whatever.
It's not unhealthy to have like a little bit of cereal.
That's what I mean on an evening.
Balance,
I know I can feel it coming on, and I think, well, you know what? Actually, it's this week, so I'll have a bit of cereal in bed, and then I know I'll be actually the following week. I probably won't want as much.
Yeah. You probably work a little bit harder in the gym then as well, because you know, if you were to completely binge, then you're going to have that low energy spiral, aren't you? You're going to start to feel worse and worse. So it's having those strategies in place and knowing that you're probably going to be a little bit heavier as well at that point in the cycle. There's going to be more water retention. Your core body temperature increases as well. So you're going to feel completely different. So you'll tend to find that you might feel a little bit colder for the first 1 to 14, 15 days. So your body actually, you don't get that overheating as such. Then when you get straight after ovulation, that kind of day 17, 18, 19, you feel really warm, almost like menopausal warm.
Oh my goodness, it's such revelations to me. It really is.
Yeah, on your iPhone tracker, honestly.
Because I have like sometimes, like I'll get night sweats and all sorts.
It tends to be.
Oh my God, is this the menopause?
Well, it could be perimenopause. We're not
I'm
far away
40,
from. But it can start as early as like 30 in their very early 30s.
Yeah, and a lot of it as well was what happens is you've got a higher body temperature, you burn more calories. So theoretically as well, in that second phase of the cycle, you're actually in a better position to be burning more body fat because you're using more energy. But you've also got to counteract that with you're going to have more cravings.
So you want to eat more.
You've got to prepare for it, don't you?
Yeah. So you want to eat more, but you're also burning more. So it can be a really great time to actually burn some more body fat, but you need to make sure that you're in control. And I think what a lot of people do is they go from one extreme to the other. So it's having a plan and it's looking at nutrition and training as not just and we do a lot of transformations, which is great, but we always encourage and teach clients to change like the lifestyle. So look at things not over a daily cycle or a weekly cycle. It's what can I do for the next year? What can I do for the next 2 years? How can I actually continue to live this way? And by saying I'm never going to eat cereal again, or I'm never going to have chocolate again, then it's not realistic, right? So I need to come up with a plan which will allow me to do that.
Yeah. Before one of the other things I want to talk to you about as well is the influence of social media. how is this having an effect on like people that are coming to you? I mean, it's everywhere, isn't it? On Instagram, and people looking a certain way, and filters and photoshopping.
And I think sometimes it's so inspiring because you see, like you mentioned, Gemma Atkinson.
Oh,
and
she looks amazing.
She's amazing, and she's just had a baby, and she's been very honest and open about the journey that she's had from having a C-section and being very fit before that to very slowly and carefully regaining her figure and getting back to her level of fitness, which I think is really refreshing. But I suppose there's a flip side to that as well, isn't there, where people see celebrities or bloggers or whatever perceivably like snapping back into shape and things,
or just even tuning their bodies so that they're not actually real, and people are coming maybe to you with an unrealistic picture.
Yeah, so there's a couple of things there. So the first one, the social media. A lot of people tend to look at the negatives of what social media can actually do. But if you look at this day and age now, it's probably a far healthier day and age than we've ever had before. And social media doesn't play all the part in that. It plays part of it. More research and science helps that. But people are more conscious about making the right health decisions. Yeah. So 20, 30 years ago, it wouldn't have been normal for the amount of people that do now to go to the gym and to be on a diet as such. And a lot of the time people aren't actually on diets, they're just on a nutrition plan. And a lot of the time actually they're not on a nutrition plan, they're just choosing to eat foods that was available 60, 70, 80 years ago. It was only in the last 30 to 40 years that all this fast food started to become available. But the other part of it as well is then when you get these influencers and people who aren't actually painting the full picture. So you get people showing us pictures of what they want to look like, and I'm like, it's probably not real. Or they look like that for one day out of 365 days of the year. They did a diet and they peaked for that photo shoot to look that good on that one day and that one angle.
You listen to some of the, I don't know if you've ever watched the programme about the Victoria's Secrets models, what they have to go through before they do that big show every year is absolutely crazy.
Yeah.
It's great though to look that good and to do it for that one moment.
That's commitment, isn't it?
But what people have to understand is you don't look like that
365 days a year.
Not at all. Not even 24/7. Like you've had to really peak at that day, at that point to actually look that good. So a lot of the time it's about like not really focus on the external stuff and actually thinking, what do I want to achieve and why do I actually want to achieve it?
I mean, can you imagine the stress that all, the Kardashians, etc., have to go through to look like that every single day of the week?
Yeah, but they're getting paid enough.
Oh my goodness. I mean, going to training like 14 weeks before the Oscars and stuff like that. I mean...
Yeah, but if you're going to be photographed
It's
from
your job.
all around, and honestly,
It's looking at different ways,
it's a
right?
scary thing.
If you look at athletes for the last 100 years or so, they've always dieted and ate well to peak for a certain show. It's just that we're getting a different kind of, not necessarily athlete, but a reason to peak.
Yeah.
It could be for like the Oscars or something like that. It's just a different reason to push the body to see what it's actually able to do.
It's like all the Love Island contestants, isn't it? They sort of go in there and they look absolutely incredible and they've been training super hard, and then when the show sort of finished, I mean, they all still look amazing, but you can see they've probably let that go a little bit, and that that's a great thing, a positive thing. But I think girls need to remember that, don't they? There's a lot of planning and effort and time and money spent to look like that. They don't just walk into that house and look like that.
Yeah, and there's a couple of different things as well there. A lot of the time as well, people feel as though they want to get in better shape because that'll attract the opposite sex a little bit more, or the same sex, whatever. But they feel as though somebody's going to look at them and, oh, right, okay, they're definitely going to like me now. But when we speak to most males and females and different people, they're actually not attracted to, that's the initial buy-in, isn't it? It's almost like a lot of the time it's like, I probably wouldn't go out, I wouldn't date a guy who looks like that because he looked like they'd be really boring.
Yeah.
Or I wouldn't date a girl
It's like Snog, Marry, Avoid. Do you watch that? That's great.
It is that people do it, and like guys are like, I want to get really big, and because I want to attract. When you ask girls, and like, I don't like guys that are too big. And you ask them who like the best physiques are, they're like, oh, David Beckham, and they pick these people that most of the guys in the gym look at and go, doesn't even look like he trains. So a lot of the time, people are actually doing it for probably the wrong reasons.
In terms of, there's a massive movement at the moment in terms of obviously embracing our curves, which I'm all about. However, there's also the flip side of that when curves can become unhealthy. What's your take on that?
Yeah, I get that. And again, it comes down to like body fat distribution, and people are going to distribute in different ways. So you could have someone, and this is why it's really quite strange. Like, it's quite normal to say to someone, oh, you look really skinny, and then to say to somebody else, oh, you look quite fat today. You can say one, but you can't say the other. And the person who's quite skinny could actually feel more down about the way they look than the person who's actually a little bit overweight. Because the person who's quite skinny is going to find it much, much harder to actually gain some curves than the person who's overweight, just to lose a little bit of weight.
Do you have any of those women in your gym, Mark, that use these like midsection trainer things to try and get
A
himself
waist
a little
trainer.
waist
No,
trainer.
I thought they disappeared in the 90s.
No, the Kardashians
they
use
do.
them.
They
They
always seem
do.
to have one on, don't they?
But
you're
obviously sorry.
I was just going to say, you're right about the slim women who are naturally very slim. And up until I did my job as a stylist, I assumed that anyone who was very slim and quite athletic naturally would feel very body confident, because that's always body shape. Because I'm curvier, I've always thought is fantastic. And
You're
then
always envious
working,
of the opposite, right?
always thought, oh, you know, wow. And then when I've started working with women who are naturally slim, they're like, I would just love some curves and to feel more feminine. And it's true, isn't it, that it's funny that we can, it seems okay in society to compliment someone for being slim, but if someone said, oh, you look really curvy today, then like other people would be really offended by that.
No, you're right, and it's quite weird how one's taboo and one's not. But going back to your question about the health as well, some people who are actually appear to be quite skinny can actually be really unhealthy, because you've got something called visceral fat as well, which is the fat that surrounds your organs. So somebody could have a really poor diet, not eat well, look quite skinny from the outside, but actually be much more unhealthy on the inside. So a lot of time it comes down to health. So curves are great, but is it compromising your health in any way? Then I'd probably look to address that.
Do you ever use sorry, Lyndsey, you go.
No, it's fine. I was actually gonna move on to holidays and just ask Mark, because I always struggle with holidays. You know, I see these women getting up and going to the gym in the morning, and I just lay on a sunbed for 2 weeks. And you know, how can you bring exercise, into your holiday?
It comes down to doing what you enjoy, right? So a lot of the time, for me, if I'm on holiday, I train. I don't train because I want to stay in better shape. I actually enjoy training, and I enjoy the way it makes me feel afterwards. So I get the endorphin rush, and I feel like I'm more awake, I've got more energy, and that's because I've kind of gone past that beginning stage of exercise where it feels horrible, right? It's not nice, So if you're not into exercise, you don't exercise a lot, but you decide to exercise on holiday, you're getting that pain when you're on holiday. You're like, everything in here is a little bit weird. Why are they doing this? But when you speak to someone who's exercised quite regularly for the last 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 months and far beyond that, when you actually train, you get that feeling of actually that endorphin rush. I feel good, I feel better.
You'd always get a hotel with a gym in it.
Would I know? Not always. I wouldn't base my holiday around there being a gym.
Okay.
It doesn't always need to be a gym. It could be a run. It could just be.
Is there
some
anywhere
press-ups, some
that you
squats.
really recommend that you've been that's really good for any gym bunnies out there?
No, not really. I'm quite boring with that. It's more so like, for me, I like to go somewhere where I can walk as well. So the idea of going on a holiday where I have to stay in a hotel is like, it's the idea of health for me. So what I like to do is when I'm on holiday, I might not go to the gym as much. I might still go a little bit in the morning, but I like to walk more and just to move more. So sometimes on holiday, my exercise could be, I'm just going to do 20,000 steps a day. I'm not doing 20,000 steps.
Swimming. There's that. I mean, honestly, when I'm in the pool with Fred, crikey, how much, especially, I mean, he's a bit bigger now, but when I used to be having to carry him and jumping him around and then do this and then do that and then let's go on a slide, let's run around. I'm like, oh my God, I need to sit down. You know, I'm tired from it. I suppose that you work that in, you don't see that as exercise, but actually it is, and it can really take it out of you, I think, especially when you've got kids.
And that's a good point as well. So some people might go to the gym in the hotel in the morning and do 20 minutes on a cross trainer or 20 minutes on a treadmill, but then spend the rest of the day drinking the all-inclusive wine, lying in the sun lounger all day and having all you can eat buffets all the time, versus someone who might go on holiday and not train a single day, so not step foot into the gym, but spend the holiday swimming, walking, going up on hikes, doing all these active things. That person's going to be in a far better position versus the one who thought they were being healthy because they went to the gym. And I think now with training becoming more and more of a thing for everyone to do, I think people stop looking at how important actually energy expenditure is and how much time we actually do spend sat down.
Well, there's a huge move towards holidays that are not necessarily fly and flop as well, and you know, people going and wanting to go on an adventure and wanting to immerse themselves in the destination, and going out walking and
that's it for me. And it could be, I went to like Ibiza in October, but went to the Old Town and walking around.
You can easily burn 6,000 calories in Ibiza a day.
Yeah, if you go to the other
if you're
side.
in the right place.
But just walking around like the Old Town, there's so much stuff to do. And then versus that, going to somewhere like going to Mexico and lying in an all-inclusive. You can't leave the hotel for various different reasons. It would just be,
your idea of hell. Yeah.
Oh, there's so much more we need to talk to you about.
And he's so cute as well.
Lyndsey.
Sorry.
Oh, God. Yes, I'm really sorry. We do have to round things up today. I mean, it has been amazing to have you with us. Will you come back and see us again?
Yeah, definitely.
Yay! Thankfully, the expert team from UP will be on hand to answer more of your health and fitness questions at the Fashion and Body event on the 8th of February at the Aspire in Leeds. I will be joined by Anna, celebrity stylist Martine Alexander, and a whole host of other names for a night of shopping, styling, and thought-provoking conversations. Tickets are currently on sale at our website, www.thecapsule.co.uk/events. So please book if you'd like to come along, as we'd love to see you there. We'd like to see you there as well, Mark.
Yeah, I'll be
please,
there.
please, yay! Come and see him. Now, don't forget you can catch up with all of our content at our website and can listen to our previous episodes by subscribing to all of our podcast channels. Please leave your rates and reviews, as we absolutely love hearing all of your feedback. We will be back next week with another special guest for more The Capsule in Conversation. But today, it's goodbye from Anna.
Goodbye.
Goodbye from Lyndsey.
Goodbye.
Goodbye from Mark.
Goodbye.
And goodbye from me.